In this video, the Warriors of the Wolf God takes on a new opponent, the Infernal Dwarves. I'm Alex, and you're watching Winterwolf Miniatures. It's finally time for a new battle report. The game is one of my club championship games for this year. I don't really want to do battle reports for competitive games because it's so hard to focus on both the game and taking pictures and notes. But since I don't seem to have the time for any casual games right now, I had to make an exception. And since it was a competitive match, I had the game in focus and picture taking. But I'm sure we can make this into something anyway. So the game, it's 4,500 points of the 9th Age fantasy battles, playing Refused Flank and Breakthrough. In Refused Flank, you deploy your armies in diagonal deployment zones like this. The secondary objective Breakthrough means that you need to get your scoring units to the opponent's deployment zone by the end of the game. This setup is generally pretty good for me because all my scoring units want to get to the opponent and fight anyway. The most problematic thing usually is that it can be hard to get any flank charges, as the name suggests, which leads to a lot of face-to-face fighting, which means steadfast is a problem for warriors, having fewer guys than pretty much anyone else. At first I had my camera on the wrong setting, because the last time I used it was at home in my well-lit studio taking close-ups on some finished models. But I soon figured that out, so just bear with me. But the first pictures are crap. Really crap. So, Dwarf's turn 1. So not much is going on. He moves up a bit to get in position for magic and shooting. Kills 3 flayers with fire in the magic phase, but they pass their discipline test. He shoots the chariot, and it takes 3 wounds. And he kills another flayer, but the last one passes the discipline test again. This guy has balls of steel. Warrior's turn 1. I retreated my single flayer a bit and moved to the other unit to keep his big monster thingy in check. In the magic phase I focused on the big one, starting with Hellfire, decent roll for wounds and 5 new holes in the monster's face to prove it. Breath of Corruption next, sacrifice the flayer for the greater good, and that's another wound. The flayers shoots on the goblins, but it does nothing. On the other flank the last flayer shoots an arrow in the sun to get fire arrows, but it's ineffective. That's a weird way of saying he missed. Did you get the reference? Dwarf's turn 2. The monster charges the flayers, who is not afraid of it. Not enough to run away, anyway. The rest of the dwarfs move up a bit, and then he starts casting fire again. The Hereditary on the warriors, and then Scorching Salvo. But that's dispelled. A fireball next, but it does nothing. But the blaze kills the last flayer. He shoots a lot and kills 1 warrior. He shoots even more and it kills another one. The tank shoots himself and the goblins shoot at the Forsaken one, but he doesn't notice. Really impressive firepower. His big monster kills the flayers, but not before they make another wound on him. He tried to catch the Forsaken one, but failed. Warrior's turn 2. The Forsaken one attacks the big monster thing. The rest of the army moves in position. The Herald flies up to take a closer look on the opposition from a better angle. Turns out dwarfs are just as ugly from the side, so he decides to cast Pentagram of Pain in the aura. It goes off and it takes the last wound on the big monster, because why not? Extra 2 armor is never bad, especially if he decides to turn my way and shoot at me or ram a tank in my face. So let's go for that. Dwarf's turn 3. Turns out my opponent is having another plan and think it's time to reposition his army. He gives me no flanks and protects his rear from sudden incoming aerial attacks from the Herald with his scary general. He kills my chariot with fire and shoots at the Chosen. The tank tries to shoot at the Herald but misses, but the archers make 2 wounds on him. These guys shoot at the Chosen and kill 2. Warrior turn 3. I charge with the warriors and he stands and shoots. It kills 4. I then charge with the Chosen as well. The warriors and my general charges the heroic goblins. The Forsaken one is starting to get hungry and some kind of magic killed his last prey. 17. That's enough for the random movement. Time to eat some dwarfs. The herald found a new spot to be. He is angry at the Dwarven general for being in the way and tries to burn him with hellfire, but it's unsuccessful. The Chosen Lord kills the goblin, of course, and time for the big fight. The Chosen and the warriors combined killed a grand total of 2 dwarves. And then the crush attack from the mage killed a Chosen. Add up the ranks, flags and charges, and the score is +1 for the dwarves. A discipline 8 break test for me, and the Chosen failed their first attempt with a roll of 9, only to roll 10 on their second try. The warriors also rolled 9, followed by another 9. And then I remembered they had minimized roll. They still didn't make it, even with their additional die, but thankfully they did on their reroll. The Forsaken one wasn't really hungry at all and had just a few dwarves. Infernal Dwarves turn 4. Not much happening movement-wise, but Scorching Salvo killed a fleeing Chosen and a knight. Shooting is uneventful. The warriors did an impressive 3 wounds this combat. Then they broke from combat and fled the impressive distance of 2 inches. The Dwarven general who went over here is now in the way, so the pursuing dwarves got nowhere. But at least they caught the warriors, obviously. Warriors turn 4. Time to stop messing around. The Herald and the Chosen Lord charges the dwarves here. The tank is blocking the way, so the Chosen Lord has to leave his friends behind. The knights charged the goblins and the Chosen rallied. Pentagram of Pain in the aura again with a sacrifice to recover a wound on the Herald. The knights killed 2 goblins and turned to face the main combat. Showing my flank to the archers is of course not a good idea, but I figured I was just as doomed if they charge me in the face, and hopefully I'll get those dwarves to flee and locking the archers in combat with my Forsaken one. Have you ever been afraid of doing too much damage? I was. Here. I wanted the dwarves to flee, not die outright. He of course challenged, and I accepted with my general. He has the most damage output and also have the trophy rack, so it made sense. Well, it did, but in that calculation the Herald and the Forsaken one did a bit more damage. Combat over, and the champion was of course dead, but there were still 11 dwarves standing. And of course that means steadfast. If you have followed this channel, chances are you know what I think about steadfast. Yeah, it's too strong sometimes. Break test at leadership 10 with reroll. Sure, why not? Dwarves turn 5. The general charges the Chosen and the archers charge the knights. The tank slammed into the warriors. The Dwarven general failed his charge. 2 goblins didn't bring life jackets and was lost in the swamp, but the goblin riders rallied. A fireball on the Chosen did nothing, but the blaze made a wound. A close-range shotgun volley took care of the last one. The tank killed 1 warrior with the impact hits, and I did nothing back. 6s to wound, but it might as well been 3s, with a roll as beautiful as this one. The archers scared off the knights after a horse killed one of them. The bloodshed in close combat in this match has been disappointing. But at least in this round of combat I didn't roll like a moron and did what I should have done the last round. Killed a whole heap of dwarves. All of them, in fact. After a quick high five in the middle, my scary trio faced their new individual objectives. Warriors turn 5. The general had to break the warriors out to get them into the scoring zone, now when the knights were advancing in the wrong direction. The herald had a juicy rear and the Forsaken one wanted to try goblin. The dwarves was not interested in having a surprise visit from an extraterrestrial and left. The chosen champion who planned to take the challenge in that fight was confused for a while and then decided to hunt for the enemy general together with the herald. The Forsaken one needed a score of 4 on its 3d6 random movement, and of course got 3. And this is when my dice started to really disappoint me. The knights failed their rally test, and the herald made 1 measly little wound on the dwarven general, and was then squished. Not good. Not good. The chosen lord made 5 or 6 wounds on the tank, which was good. Expected, but still good. And it only had 1 wound left. Surely the warriors could manage that. 3 up to hit, but alas, 6 hits out of 17 attacks. Not with rolls like this. They won't. And there we stood. Dwarves turn 6. The goblin blocks the Forsaken one, and the archers decided to go for the objective and made it into the scoring zone. The dwarven general killed the last chosen, and my general, tired of having to do everything himself, finished off the tank, finally. Not much to do really in Warriors turn 6. The knights rallied, but too late, and the Forsaken one killed the irritating goblins. And that's this match in the books. We'll get to the score shortly, but first I want to thank you for watching. Make sure to hit like and make a comment on the video if you can. It's much appreciated and it helps me grow my channel. If you enjoyed this battle report, make sure to check out my other ones and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future ones. Once again, thank you for watching. See you soon.